Hi, I'm a professional. Hi, welcome. I'm a professional. Wait. Hi, welcome. I'm a professional. Wait. Hi, welcome. I'm a professional. Apparently not as professional as I wanted, but that's okay. I'm sorry, y'all. That was my fault. Because I have to make sure that, the taps plays appropriately, and then we can stop at the right point. But hi! Welcome back! Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the episode. Welcome to life as we know it, or maybe not. But we're gonna go around, let everybody introduce themselves. I am Deirdre, or Prexagoth Esmiophoria, as you see me around on Twitch, and this is my channel. And tonight we have episode 2 of the wonderful Regiment, and it will be absolutely fabulous. And we are all having a tea party. Hello, Coldrake. Thank you for that subscription. And we're all having a wonderful tea party to celebrate Anino's birthday. So, you know what? We're going to start with Anino on my left bottom of the overlay, or right bottom of the overlay, I should say.
How's it going, everyone? My name's Anino. I use he, him pronouns. And my character for this game is Cleveland Griffiths, the master farrier of the Household Cavalry. Also uses he, him pronouns. I also play the Colonel, whose name escapes me. Colonel Bartholomew Fisher. That's it. He's kind of important.
Yes, the Colonel is only kind of important, but the Cleveland Griffiths is obviously much more important and individual. And then next to him on the overlay, we have, going across the bottom, Jim. Hey, Jim.
Hello. Greetings all. I'm Jim. I use he, him pronouns. I'm very pleased to be here. I am playing Dr. Fletcher Spaulding, who is a terrible wastrel, but is very kind to his patients. Well, kind is perhaps not the best word for it, but yeah, he recognizes that they're there and he does things with them. So I suppose that's something.
I mean, he does make sure that they stay alive. And
yes,
he's moderately concerned about them. And apparently we do need to... We need an actual Jim talks to himself counter, because even when not expected, we have a Jim talks to himself moment.
It just sort of happens at random, I'm afraid.
This is true. This is true. But next around on the overlay is the wonderful, hey Trooper, thanks for coming.
Well, I was recruited. I mean, I was promoted to lieutenant and everything. How could I not be here after, all of that work back, out abroad, for heaven's sakes. I'm Trooper SJP, woo! And I'm so happy to be here because this has got, all the historicalness and also apparently horse thievery, which is distressing. And you can find me on my channel, and I am playing Lieutenant Henry Valentine, who uses he, him pronouns, and he's promoted from the ranks and, believes in the Empire.
Yes, he definitely believes in the Empire and has absolutely no problems with anyone else in this entire regiment. I would like to remind the audience that the Willoughby counter is actually in existence now.
Willoughby!
Oh, look, it works.
You said the name! Oh. Audience, look. He's the worst. It's not even just me. I think everybody knows it. He's the worst. That's it.
He came up in my earlier stream today, too.
And did everybody there also know that he was the worst?
They knew. They had a feeling.
Apparently. And then last of my wonderful players, but certainly not least, the wonderful, the fabulous Alyssa.
Hello! I don't have as clever of an intro to run off of as everybody else, but I'm Alyssa, or you see Xander Slamilton around on all the things. She, her pronouns, using my giant Down with Common Sense mug today, because I feel like that is an appropriate way to begin such a serious campaign, as always. And I, tonight, will be playing Captain Timothy Bisley, the most medium man that has ever been in existence, who is, well, he's getting through, and I think that's the best we can say for good old Captain Tim today. He is getting through.
He's like the Al Bundy of this campaign.
I mean,
That's generous.
there are definitely worse people. There are definitely worse people. But as we left off, I believe there was the beginnings. We are in 1809, part of the British Army against the, well, English. Or, no, excuse me. The British Army against the French. Wow, that would have been awkward. Against the British against the English. That wouldn't have worked. At least definitely not at this point.
Don't you just call that Brexit?
No. That's something
Civil War?
else. That's something
Ooh. For a game set over 200 years ago, it's very topical.
It is very topical. It is very topical. But it is 1809. As we watch, July 30th is where we left off, 2 days after the Battle of Talavera. Nominally a British victory, at least they capture the city, although the 20% casualty rate is a mite high, one might say. And we have had a small problem has been presented to the members of the Royal Household Calvalry Regiment. Apparently somebody is selling British horses to the French. Not just black marketeering, but treason. Supplying one's enemies with one's provisions. The king is not amused, as one might say. Well, I don't know if the king is amused or not. He's mildly incapacitated at the moment, and the Prince Regent probably doesn't care a whole lot. He's too busy whoring and drinking his way through London. But Sir Arthur Wellesley is most assuredly not amused. And considering Sir Arthur Wellesley's views on mere looting was a death sentence amongst the troops, the selling of one's property of the British Army to the French, well, that could not be allowed to stand. And we left off with a question that Lieutenant Valentine had for our dear Captain Bisley about whether or not the good Dr. Fletcher, who is rumored to be quite a gambling man, would know of how to deal with such a problem. And I think that's where we'll pick up. With the lieutenant and the captain, and possibly even the good Sergeant Griffiths, approaching the doctor about, well, the question of missing horses and how one would approach such things.
Forgeries.
Right, so we're looking at a pile of forgeries.
We don't know if they are, Captain. Perchance, you know.
I'm gonna take a good guess and say that they are.
Oh.
Valentine, you're good with the doctor, correct? Like, would you say mildly chummy?
Well, I have been to the scandal alcove once or twice. So maybe?
All right, so you're on a better state than I am. Let's just say, why don't you go in and get him to go to the scandal alcove and tell me when we're there, so I don't have to look at the patients, if that's all right.
Well, yes, sir, but you'll have to go through the infirmary tent to get to the scandal alcove.
Very well, very well.
It's quite nicely apportioned, though. It's a little bit small, but I think we'd all fit.
Right. Okay, then, or you know the way. I'm gonna trust you on this one to handle this, getting us to the scandal alcove, and I'm not going to look at all of the viscera.
Well, Hadley's mostly intact.
Yeah, that's not what I saw him. The last time I saw him, he was very much not put together.
I did say mostly, sir.
Yes. One does not simply forget the idea of the insides becoming the outsides, you know.
I suspect it would not feel good as well, sir.
No, I can't imagine that it would.
Well, I'll lead the way. And I open the tent, and then I think I'm going to lead the way, but then I realize I can't, because I have to let my captain go first. And so then I wait for the captain to go into the infirmary tent.
I need you to picture again, the most medium man just kind of walking forward, trying to look confident, but it's like the eyes, like it's all in the eye, like face fine, put together posture, but in the eyes you can see this is the last place in the world I would ever want to be seen or found, and good Lord help me, I do not want to be here.
The level of stiff upper lip with which one must, in course, maintain their approach through the hospital tent.
Nice.
Wherein, one is people are being treated and cared for, a minor level of professionalism, and, yet of course, well, by this point, those who are going to die immediately are already dead, possibly, and the, good doctor is staving off the infection, at least for the moment.
Ah, yes.
I'm just behind my captain. I'm just behind my captain, just like right there.
Yes. Dr. Spaulding, a moment if you wouldn't mind.
Remind me what time of day is it, and such. Where I'm in the tent. Is that right? Okay.
It must be sort of late afternoon at the earliest, yes,
Okay.
because we already had the meetings, and then we had the inspection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just sort of going. So it's like I've sort of done kind of final rounds of sort of working on something in the back. I'm probably writing something in the back. I'm just sort of looking up. And it just sort of come out. Bisley.
Yes, yes. Good. Do you have somewhere we could talk somewhere, perhaps privately?
And you just sort of glance. Are both Bisley and Valentine there? Yeah. And so actually,
And also our sergeant.
And also your sergeant. Okay. In that case, he'll also say, what is that with you there? Oh, Valentine and Griffiths, isn't it?
Yes, Sergeant Griffiths.
Is it? Yes. Sergeant. Well, is the rest of the platoon coming?
I certainly hope not, sir.
Because
Doctor.
I sincerely
Colonel?
hope, I sincerely believe everyone here is underdressed for that. I should have decorated.
I look to see if they are underdressed, and then I realize they're just on, like, they're actually fine. But
They're on beds.
Yes, because his underdress was like he was thinking. I imagine that that Spaulding was thinking that they're not wearing fancy clothes, and I was thinking they were perhaps more nude than I would prefer them to be. But then I realized I was like, no, they're dressed. It's fine.
Yeah.
And so
I
it was just
gestures at the beds.
I thought it was a joke about the number of dressings they have over their wounds.
So all of us are like having different thoughts about.
He just sort of he pauses for like a split second, and he's like, "Oh my goodness! Well, let's not use up what brain energy is available out there. Come further. Come back here, would you?
Yeah.
Quickly before it runs out."
And I think
he heads back.
I think Bisley's gonna give Valentine a look that it's like, you see why I'm not super a fan of this, huh? And then just keep walking, stiff upper lip. Just the look of like, ugh.
And I know that there are some dressings on them, so some of them are dressed.
Indeed.
So sort of in the back where there's sort of a there's a desk, and across from where we keep the sort of the drug cabinet and all that, and I was writing something. I was sort of closing this, and you see me close this, put this sort of leather book thing or whatever I was writing in shut. As you're sort of coming in, I kind of will turn around. Now, business, my dear fellow, there is one thing though that I simply, I simply just don't know if I can continue to abide. It's quite fine for you to pop in whenever you like, but to pop in those cuffs, I just don't know. I think something needs to be done about that. Probably pretty soon. We'll have a little chat at some point soon.
Very well.
I check the cuffs, like I just look, and like in my mind I'm doing calculations about whether or not they're actually within regulation, and then I realize that they are, and so that I don't actually know what Dr. Spaulding means by that, but then I don't say anything.
Yeah, it's absolutely like, I thought these were fine.
And as you're sort of looking down, Spaulding's just going to step forward, and he's very gently, if you'll permit it, he'll kind of grab hold of your cuffs, and he'll sort of even them out a little bit. And he says, "Here, see there, you just want to turn it upward just ever so slightly there, so that it's so that you can show off without necessarily showing off. It's not a lot to work with, granted, but it's what is available. And one always makes do with what one must. Goodness knows," he says, sort of gesturing at the tent in general, and perhaps the world.
Yes. Thank you, Doctor. I'm afraid it's been sort of a day already, and
oh, indeed.
Once cuffs sort of fall away, they lose their points.
Yeah. One shouldn't wonder the day won't stretch to 24 hours like it did the last one. It's the start of a very disturbing trend.
Indeed.
Now, what was it now? I believe you wanted something, he says, and he just sort of leans back on the desk gently, and he picks up, he's actually drinking a cup of tea right now that he picks up, and he'll...
The papers then, whichever one of you, Griffiths or Valentine, that have them.
I hand the papers over.
Now,
to the captain, of course.
Yeah, and I'll pass them off to Dr. Spaulding. Dr. Spaulding, do these look... does something seem not right with these?
Forgeries, Colonel. Doctor.
Well, I was rather wondering if perhaps you were concerned about their organization, but and he just sort of takes and he begins sort of flipping and looking at them. Do I notice anything weird about them? They told me they might be forgeries, so I'm kind of.
I mean, they look very professional. You could roll knowledge streetwise, or perhaps deception cheat. To get a better understanding, if that's your choice.
I don't have any ranks in streetwise or cheat, but
you do still have 3 bonus dice left over from last week.
Those, yeah.
For the player's recollection, both the doctor and the captain have 3 bonus dice. The lieutenant merely has 2, and the good sergeant has none at the moment.
Okay. Cool. I don't think I'm going to use my bonus dice just yet, but necessarily. But can I still make just the knowledge roll? Is that
yes, of course.
How this works? Okay.
You can always do so.
I shall do so.
Even if you don't have the specialization, you can always make just the basic roll.
Okay. 15.
And that's a very good base roll right there. I mean, particularly for a game where, the easy DC is like a 7. And a hard or challenging DC is a 9. With a 15, it doesn't look like they're forgeries per se, in the sense that somebody has faked them, or someone who had, but it looks like somebody with authority and power who knows how the system worked the system.
And what kind of papers are these that I'm looking at? What did they work the system
These are
doing?
transfer papers, I believe, is what you were talking about from last time, is that there are, what it looks like, and based on what you were reading through, somebody took advantage of the fact that you have to sign over the horse and send it somewhere else based on its health, or if there needs supply movements, or equipment movements, or whatever, or if somebody, a rider died and you have a leftover horse, you need to transfer it from here to there. Someone took advantage of the fact that you can transfer the papers and then not necessarily have them received correctly. Because you would discover as you're reading through this that there's a small hole in the procedure. There's no communication from the sending party until the animal is sent. So there's no expectation of receipt on the receiving party's end.
So just sort of look through them and like, well, I wouldn't say forged per se, but they do look rather as though someone is trying to play a rather elaborate game of chess with them. It looks like they're trying to make some sort of castling maneuver here or something, as far as I can tell. That's rather odd, I would say. If one would think that one would want to receive one's goods, and that is not here. Now, why is that, I wonder?
Why indeed? Sergeant Griffiths, besides obviously yourself, are anyone else involved in this transfer process that would sign off on any of these?
Likely the supplies master, as they are responsible for the moving and cataloging of all equipment, including the animals.
I'm thinking that someone would have to intercept these horses on their way. So if this transfers, we have these transfer notices, they're going out somewhere, so it could have been taken in route, especially if not all the horses have been, if some horses have shown up where they're supposed to be, but some haven't. That means someone knows about this order, and somebody's going to get those horses somewhere in the, between point A and B. So it could be the supply sergeant, or it could be somebody moving things, or it could be somebody along the road. But it seems like it's an insider because they know enough about, it's not like a highwayman or something. They know enough about the process, but there's some sort of diverting happening.
Well, a couple of potential candidates do come to mind.
Do tell.
Yeah. We have a couple of lieutenants who are rather interested in trade, as I recall, and it's rather interesting. I mean, of course, Quibble I've known about for a while, and I didn't really think that he was necessarily doing anything. Well, you know what they say. He's not quite at O'Malley's standards, as it were. But, so I don't know that this doesn't really look too much like his work. I suppose it could be if he suddenly figured out what he's doing. But I had rather heard some rather interesting things about someone else. And he just sort of looks at across their faces, and he's like, might I ask, what is it that you're intending to do if you should uncover this ruffian?
Murder? No, I'm just joking, sir.
Valentine, you made a joke, and he will actually put his hands on your shoulder, sort of semi-embrace you, and say, "My dear fellow, there's hope for you yet."
Well, you did say I should be use more jokes, so I thought that would be time for one. But wouldn't you think that maybe it would be somebody not in our regiment? Or at least not in our company. I'm just saying that if we're missing things with us, then maybe it's somebody who's next door, or who's pinning it on us, rather than because nobody in our unit would do that.
That's entirely possible. There is, suspecting that we're trying to make certain this is no longer done. Yes, this is rather the yes. I would rather we have enough horses to go out on, as we do rather look. Our men would look rather silly gliding in midair like that. So I think that I have heard recently. I don't know as to whether or not he's involved in this mess. But I have recently learned that there is a fellow that is, shall we say, has a rather marked interest in trade. And seems to be getting into the business of maneuvering things back, at least from back home. I don't know if he's any connections with the French, but it might be worth looking into.
Does this fellow have connection to the French? Because whoever it is, what we do know is that they're able to spirit horses away and then sell them to the French. So
there may be more pieces involved in this, possibly, but yes, I don't know that he does. But we are speaking of your charm, Ingram.
Oh.
I see. I see.
He has, from what I understand, been able to procure rather an interesting number of items of haberdashery from London. Well, I say
Lord.
interesting. They're a little bit out of style, but one does what one must, I suppose. But I have to wonder if he is bringing in such things, what he might be trading away to gain their entrance.
Well, but that doesn't make much sense. A person with as much money as he does, why would he go around doing something like that? I mean, he's.
I don't know. You see, that is a good question. He doesn't seem to have, as far as I can tell, I don't really know the man terribly well. He doesn't seem to have much of the way of motive to
or
do
friends.
this sort of thing. But if I were to just randomly name a couple of suppliers, I would say my thoughts would immediately land on either him or Quibble.
Well,
or perhaps they know more about where one is. As they seem to try to pride themselves on knowing who to talk to get different things. Who knows? I do know someone locally I could also speak to about see if there's anything going on in the area, though I don't know if it would turn anything up, to tell you the truth. But one can inquire.
Who do you think in our unit knows how to speak French?
Oh, well. And he'll just sort of unfortunately Jim can't do this, but he will just sort of very briefly Spaulding will say, well, I have a brush of it myself. I think, well, actually, does Spaulding? Let me check his things. He has Spanish. Did he also go up to French language? No, he's got 3 and 4. Yes, he also has French. I mean, I've got a brush of it myself. One needs to know
Je parle un petit français.
Yeah. Un petit français. Well, one needs to. Well, I've got to work on patients no matter where they're from. Keep in mind, they need to be able to tell me where it hurts if I can't see it immediately.
But,
Captain Bisley, you're of a fine breed. You must also know French. I mean, I think that all sorts of fancy people know French.
my let's just say my language skills are rather rusty in that area. Not that I couldn't, attempt to navigate it. It's just not great. I also don't know if it's necessary to go down that path necessarily. We have a few persons of interest, as it were. It might be worth gathering them together and sort of,
Well,
there's got to be a way to massage out answers in a way.
Oh, well. Somewhere perhaps where they might lower their guard.
I've never been very good with lying. I mean, I've tried.
Well, you never know what a gentleman will do when you get a few drinks in him.
See, that was more what I was thinking, was
Oh.
there are moments you can sort of I can't really speak for Quibble's interest, I'm afraid. I don't know him super well, but we could certainly, you're not gonna like this, Valentine, but Willoughby does not necessarily go against an occasional game or two if money is on the line.
Yeah. Well, I suppose there are a number
He's
of
very
games running,
talented,
but
that Willoughby.
yeah.
Lieutenant
I was
Ingram.
rather thinking that as there's a bit of a soiree happening in another day or two, I think, sometime not too far from now, over at Francisco's villa. We might invite them. I could see to it that they each get an invitation.
Is it proper to go over there to that villa? I've heard things.
Oh, well, what kinds of things?
Well, I'm married, and I just...
Ah, those kinds of things. Perhaps a bit of that, but it depends. If you stay relatively away from from some of the rooms adjacent to the wine cellar, you're perfectly fine. Although if you linger in the wine cellar, you can hear some rather entertaining things.
Ah.
Secrets?
No
Yes,
one supposes
secrets.
Yeah, secrets.
Oh,
yes.
Valentine, let's
Leave it at
just
secrets.
let's just say that there are certain things that you can only hear when two people have a special moment.
Hope they're married, those people, of some sort, in some kind of
Oh,
way.
I don't doubt it. To each other, that's an interesting question, but not one I care to ponder.
Indeed.
Well, we have to be upstanding and everything for king and country. We're the Royal Horse Guards.
Well, there is a certain amount of standing up that does take place as part of the activity, from what I understand.
Well, we'll have to be careful. I mean, our reputation's a little bit, our reputation's a little bit, people say things about our
Bold.
regiment.
Yes, thank you, Griffiths. Thank you.
So we just should make sure that our uniform's on, right, correctly, also on.
Well, generally you don't want to wear your uniform to these types of.
No. Valentine, have you not ever gone to one of these before?
No.
Ah. Well.
Well, you're in for quite an education.
Dr. Spaulding, do you think you could help me prepare Valentine for such an occasion? I suspect that such a soiree is going to. I think Valentine will like it.
Oh, Valentine's going to cut quite a figure there. I think I think he'll make a bit of a smash. You, on the other hand, we do need to make a few adjustments, I fear.
Am I not dressed as a man of my station?
You are, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, but you see, the trouble is you announce it rather than, shall we say, not the most the best received way. There are ways to, shall we say, announce your station in ways that will allow people to simply know when looking upon you, rather than squinting and wondering, what's that poor lad doing being stuffed into that uniform? No. There are better options. We shall take an outing.
If it's for the sake of the mission, then why not? I suppose.
Why for king and country, no less.
Yes, for king and country.
Indeed.
What do people wear to these sorts of things? To these soirees?
Usually clothes that are easily removed, but
Griffiths.
I can. Well, if you don't wish to, yes, there are a certain number of things I can, certain number of items I can show you to give you sort of the idea.
Will this be very expensive then? This whole thing?
And I just sort of head over. I'm actually starting to head over to this. So this tent probably there's like a supply closet that's kind of in the corner. It has more than one. And I just sort of open it, and you'll see that I've taken out whatever was supposed to be in there on one side, and there are suits in there. And
I mean, I don't suppose that we could ask Priscilla Quibble if, perhaps one of the widows of our recent casualties might have some spare clothing that might fit your cut.
Oh, Quibble, you're gonna ask. Mrs. Quibble is, no offense or anything.
None-
Do you really?
Captain. Just wait for one moment, sir. Just one. Just one moment, sir. Please, just 1 second.
Valentine,
Sir.
do we really want to involve her in this? I'd prefer to keep it within the group that's right here. And sometimes I find that.
No, sir. You know, did you know that Mrs. Quibble is the older sister of Master Sergeant Griffiths? Did you know that, sir?
I do now. And what a lovely woman she is. Right. I don't necessarily want to trouble the women folk with our problems if we don't have to. Is all I was going to say. I didn't want to put it as a burden onto her plate. You know, sometimes when you burden women, they tend to talk about their problems instead of, stiff up a lip and all. That's what I was going to say.
It's quite fine. You can say it. She's overbearing.
That's certainly the word I was going for, yes.
I don't know. If we're going to be getting her husband in trouble, I should think she might want to be in on it.
Oh, is it that sort of marriage?
I mean, which marriage isn't like that?
None that I know of.
So, speaking well of the ladies, that's what you do if you're breeding. We're going to try to find some sort of clothing that will be appropriate for one of these soirees, festivals, or something.
Soiree. Yes, that is what we'll do. And we'll, Spaulding, I trust that you can handle inviting our esteemed guests, as it were.
Oh, certainly. I have something of a carte blanche in that area, and he's sort of he's been had his back turned the whole time. He's just sort of taking down. He's looking at a few different coats.
Trying to decide which would be the best for this particular evening's or next evening's soiree, as it is.
Yes.
Making sure things fit appropriately, look appropriate, match the mood and voice and tone of the appropriate action, of course.
Are we bringing guests to this soiree? Like, do we bring our?
No.
Not typically, no.
Oh.
This is more of a gentleman's thing.
I see. All right.
It could be either, whatever. It'll be very entertaining to see what happens in the near future. But as you are breaking apart from this particular moment, shall we say, where are each of you heading?
I'm following the captain. I'm just following the captain in case the captain needs anything.
Yeah, I figure whatever we have to like finish out the rest of the day until meal times, and then just head to duty, depart the good doctor, depart from Griffiths.
Look a little uneasy with, I don't know, going to some rich person's estate and who knows what kind of clothing. I don't even know, but that's fine. It's fine. I'm not humorless.
No, Valentine, you're not humorless.
Made a joke and everything.
Yes, you did. It was wonderful. Everyone laughed. Didn't you hear it?
I hear that sometimes murder is a good joke. People laugh at murder.
Yeah, it kills. What can one say?
Oh, that was very good. I should practice that one. That's make a note.
It's all about timing, and you'll figure it out.
Sergeant Griffiths will return to his workspace, and he is actually going to give a review of all of the recent transfers or requests for transfers of horses.
Thanks, Hawkeye. I'm a professional. Wow. Thanks. So you missed my greatly timed joke. Oh well. It really killed.
What can we say? 3 times the charms. Take another stab at it.
Yeah, pretty much. Many stabbings. So the doctor is remaining to, determine both his accoutrement and care for his patients, and the sergeant is going through his papers to see if he can't track down more about these horses. For which he then rolled me deception cheat. On a 9, what you can decipher really is that for the most part, it's going to take you like the rest of the day to kind of track through. Your own personal documentation is pristine as always, but there are other people's papers, other people who aren't necessarily as fastidious as Sergeant Griffiths is. Particularly a couple people who may or may not be, following or not following the protocol as established by the previous farrier, one of the gentlemen who happened to be part of that unfortunate mutiny problem that the regiment suffered a few years back. But it is while you are watching going through these papers and focusing on all of these documents, that you discover that a couple pieces of information. Number one, that you can confirm that everyone who wrote about these things is very precise. They're educated. They know what they're doing. These aren't, just somebody who, is, these aren't somebody who's uneducated, not one of the illiterates who make up the majority of the rank and file of His Majesty's Army. They are relatively neat in their documentation, and you are very sure that that this hole in your system is what they're taking advantage of. It is while, however, you are working on these documents that you discover that just, you're working on these things, making sure everything is going the appropriate manner, and there is a soft kind of throat clearing, like slightly behind you, as Mrs. Priscilla Quibble appears. A rat next door to you. Your charming sister.
What is Griffith's first name? Because
Cleveland.
Ethan?
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Oh, that's right, Cleveland. That's right. That is correct. Oh, Cleveland. Cleveland, my dearest. What are you doing here? So close. What are you doing, my dear?
You be so shrill, dear sister.
Ooh, I could be more shrill if you really wanted. Now, have you thought about what Daddy said? And he would buy you a commission so you wouldn't have to do all of this.
Well, as you might know, dear sister, that I generally prefer to earn my place. Not by simply paying it, but...
That's how these things are done. And it doesn't seem as if you're really interested in moving any which way. You must have ambition. Mummy always says that you just didn't have enough ambition. I'm quite disappointed.
Well, as you can see, I'm totally shook up by those cutting words and remarks and the disappointment that I bring to our family.
Oh, Cleveland. So, what has been going on about? I noticed that there was this whole bunch of, well, how do I put this? Requests for paperwork, from supply, and all sorts of things like this. There seems like quite a bit of a hubbub.
Oh, that's amusing. Are you playing quartermaster again?
No, I just happen to know things. It's making my business to just sort of find out what's happening, you know, out and about. And it just so happens that, you know, my dearest husband was just very, very busy with extra paperwork, quite a lot of paperwork, requests for paperwork, and wanting paperwork to be all organized and all. There's just quite a lot, and it's, you know, it stresses him out a little bit. It might be a little bit thrilling to think about all that paperwork and doing something exciting, but I would just feel like, I mean, he said, when I was, you know, having, you know, dinner with him, that it was a bit unusual, really, that there was some sort of something, and I thought that maybe you might know, because it wasn't just any sort of supply paperwork that he told me that they were looking for, that there was actually all sorts of horse sorts of things, and that you, my dearest brother, who might be able to tell me if there's something exciting happening around here, you know, would know something about. So, what excitement is happening then that is causing my husband to have all sorts of work?
Is your stop going Jimmy Fallon on me. Okay. I find it strange that you're seeking entertainment in the bureaucracy. Are all the other officers' wives freezing you out of their various social clubs and tea?
Cleveland, I feel like that's such an unkind thing to ask, don't you? I am very popular with all of the officers' wives, all of them with their talk and the way they just, the way they do, you know, they just titter and twitter, and they just talk about some women who may not be on the inside. They like to say things about them in sort of rude ways, but it's not me. I'm not the one, not me, no. I'm having a lovely time indeed. So, secret, something, why do you want all this paperwork?
Well, you see, it's quite literally a life or death situation for me.
Ooh. Wait, for you?
Yes, because I am, in fact, as you might recall, the master farrier, and I am responsible for the...
Far below your station, of course, but go on.
Yes, well, horses are much better company than certain others, I should say. Certainly less temperamental.
Well, I hate a temperamental thing, don't you?
Yes, we'll leave it at that.
So?
But anyhow, it seems that someone happens to be misappropriating our horses, and they happen to be appearing in the French cavalry. So you can imagine that the idea of arming our enemies is quite frowned upon.
Oh, indeed. But why would that have anything to do with you?
Well, that just comes with the responsibility of being the farrier, as I am, in fact, responsible for the maintenance and careful management of our horses.
Yes, all that working with your hands and all that. I personally would never do any sort of labor, because who would do that? That would be terrible. I mean, that would be just terribly scandalous. So, what can we do? You are my dearest brother, also my only brother, but also my dearest. So, what can we do to help?
Well, providing all the paperwork in proper fashion is a good start.
I will speak to my husband about it. Anything else?
I know that, I believe that covers it.
So, tell me, dearest brother, whom I love more than anything, who also loves me more than anything.
That's not true, but...
we'll just say it's true. Who are your subjects? Your suspects? Who is it? Who are your suspects? Do you imagine someone sort of like I don't know, some sort of roguish, mysterious sort of person, like lurking in the night and stealing horses?
Well, I wouldn't say it's just one person. I feel like this whole operation is probably a very coordinated effort among less scrupulous folks.
Frightening. Do you think? Oh, wait. If you were asking for supply paperwork, that makes me feel as if you might think it's some sort of inside job, perhaps? Do you think it's the Colonel? Who do you think it is? Tell me.
Oh, gosh.
You know who I think it is. I know who it is.
Really?
Yes.
You know who it is,
yes, I do.
even though you didn't really quite know what exactly was going on, but you happen to already know.
Pish posh, you gave me the problem, and now that I know who did it. Would you like to know?
I mean, I'm sure you're just dying to tell me.
Yes. I mean, I like when I have a good idea. You know, so they are horse thieves, yes? Selling, you said, horses to the French? Quite traitorous, right? Yes? Quite mutinous?
Go on.
Presumably, if you're going to be selling horses to the French, you're going to be making money off of it, yes?
That is generally the idea behind criminal acts.
Yes. So who would need all sorts of money and does not have good breeding and was in a company in the regiment that was all a bit mutinous just a few years ago? I feel like there's only one person who is proven to be mutinous, also needs money, and does not have good breeding. And has a bit of a sort of a jumped up position for authority, so they might be able to skulk about and do unscrupulous things unforeseen. Can you guess? Come.
Oh, I don't know. Officer Ingram?
No, he's got good breeding. No. The other one, the one. The poor one.
Oh, Valentine.
Yes. There, I fixed your problems for you. It's all done.
So you're simply, by virtue of breeding and a lack of money, you are accusing Lieutenant Valentine of running a horse smuggling ring.
Yes. I mean, he's some sort of working class fellow. Aren't they all but mostly thieves most of the time anyway?
You know, I would just like to point out that having an abundance of wealth does not necessarily preclude people from wanting even more wealth.
Well, I suppose that's true. But this is so distasteful. So, brother, now that I've solved your problem for you, you fixed everything, yes? And then we don't have to worry about any of that business anymore? You just...
Well, no. I must do my due diligence.
But... why are you asking for paperwork from my husband? You don't suspect him, do you?
Well, your husband is, in fact, the supplies master and is responsible for, well, all of the outfitting of this cavalry. And even if your husband, well, is innocent of any sort of crime, he is, in fact, responsible for the behavior of those who work for him.
But I've already told you who did it, who's in no way connected to supply, and I feel like that's just... Cleveland. Let's just not make this ugly and difficult and stressful. Let's just go just get that one, and we'll fix it all, and then he'll be hung or whatever it is that they do with those sorts of people, and we'll be done.
Well, if, we were in fact wrong and certain Mr. Valentine were to be innocent of this, then the crimes would continue, and then I would be blamed for the loss of our horses, and then I would be hung.
No, we can't have you hung, my dear. We don't want that at all.
Well, then I suppose that I am just going to have to do my duty.
Could I ask you a small favor? Very tiny.
Very well.
Yes, thank you. Could you maybe... Look, I don't think the problem's with supply. My husband would not be able to do such a thing.
No, because he's actually very poor with sums.
Yes. Well, I mean, don't you think the books have been very good recently? I feel like they've been excellent in the last few months or so.
Oh, so you're an auditor now?
Well, no, of course not. Ever, because I wouldn't ever sully myself with that sort of thing. It doesn't seem exciting at all. But I just feel as if, from his talking, of course, that the books look just so much better in the last few months. But anyway, the point is that he's not good with the sums, but it's getting better and you don't have to worry about it so much. And really, why don't you just leave supply alone?
I mean, I could leave supply alone, but there are various individuals who might not leave it alone. So I think you would rather have me dig into this sort of thing than...
Anyone else? Yes, it's fair. That's fair. So, can I just tell you that it's fine? That we didn't do anything... he didn't do anything wrong? He didn't, steal horses?
Well, no, because I'm sorry, you are not well-versed in accounting, that very noble profession. So I'm afraid I'm just not going to take your word for it.
I feel like you should take my word for it. I'm your sister after all. Look, ask me a question. Ask me if my husband sold horses to the French. Just ask me. I'm his wife. I would know everything he does.
Is that true? Really?
Yes.
All the officers' wives, like you, happen to know everything that their husbands do.
Cleveland, I have no idea about those other women, but I know everything my husband does. Everything.
Is that so?
Yes,
Is
at
that
all
so?
times. Yes.
Okay.
I think
All
that
of it.
this is...
Everything. Anything he does, anywhere he is, anytime, I know.
I think this
pay
is
attention.
now officially an intrigue. Which means we go into an intrigue. We'll do this as a basic intrigue, which is from part of the rules of our dear friends, part of the Sword Chronicle rules from our friends at Green Ronin. And what I think we have for this little intrigue, I need both of you to roll status breeding, and that will be basically your initiative for this intrigue. Ooh, Priscilla rolls a 9. Ooh, Cleveland rolls a 9. I will say that in this case, let's go with Cleveland because he did roll a 6. The rules for intrigue are on the cheat sheet in the handouts, part 1. So you determine, first of all, the first thing you do is you determine your disposition towards the other party. Do you like them or do you hate them? This will determine the amount of soak that you can take in a social combat. And you don't have to share that. That's your own idea. And then you determine your approach. Are you trying to persuade them? Are you trying to intimidate them? And then, based on that, you can use specific actions in this social combat gauge target, persuade, intimidate, influence, redirect, mollify, all of these things which are useful. But I will say, I'm going to give both of you a bonus dice for this particular intrigue, because I both love the fact that Trooper threw shade on his own character.
He's the obvious suspect. Come on now. He's poor.
And Trooper threw shade on his own character. And I love Nino's entire deadpan about how he's going to not trust his sister to audit, when Nino really is a great knows a lot about that particular skill set. So you both have a bonus dice for this particular intrigue. This is separate from the bonus dice that the viewers can donate to you from below. Don't forgetting, of course, that on the overlay, any of the Bs that are on the overlay, those are bonus dice that the audience is giving to you. So right now, you each have a bonus dice that you must use in this intrigue. So Cleveland, you get to go first on this first motion, and you can roleplay it a little bit out and then decide what your action is going to be.
I think that Cleveland is just trying to get rid of his sister, and in such a way that she won't interfere with the audit. I think that this technique is I think this might be actual intimidation. I think he's going to probably suggest that if she would like to survive scandal with her reputation and status intact, she would do well to disentangle herself from her husband.
Okay, so this is an intimidate, which means you get to roll persuasion intimidate. Or if you're deceiving her, if you're lying, then you would use deception and bluff or act.
We're probably going to have to use deception, because he doesn't have much in the way of status or persuasion.
Well, the question is he lying or is he not to get rid of her?
Yeah, you know what? We'll use persuasion.
I have my disposition written down.
Okay.
On my notes.
I will use my bonus dice for this.
Okay.
That's 21.
21.
Okay,
Oh,
so then
goodness.
what is that? What is Priscilla's intrigue defense?
Oh, well, my intrigue defense is a 15.
Ooh, so 15 is 1 degree of success, 20 is 2 degrees of success. So that's 2 degrees of success. And then what is your will rank? Sergeant Griffiths.
4.
So 4 times 2 is 8. Ooh, but you have 2 6s in there, which is a crit. So you do 8 intrigue damage, to composure damage, and that goes against your composure, Priscilla.
Oh,
and,
I'm sorry, my defense is an 11. Sorry, my composure is a 15. Pardon
Ooh,
me.
your defense is an 11.
Yes.
So 11, 16, 21, that's 3 degrees of success.
12.
So it's a 12 plus the 2 6s, which is a powerful hit, which increases the base influence of your technique for this exchange by +4. So that would be 16 minus what your disposition is. Remembering, of course, that if you dislike someone, you soak more damage. But if you like someone,
You soak less.
you soak less. But you can always take frustration if you wish to stay in it. And then you would take, subtract the amount of frustration subtracted by your will rank. Times by your,
So I'm going to take 1 frustration.
Okay.
Which will then, and my will is, so that is going to bring me down to, okay.
Okay.
I've got it. Yeah. It's in there.
So then, Priscilla, it is your action.
So my goal is to get him to accept the truth that my husband did not have anything to do with it, and then just tell other people to just kind of stop this. This whole investigation of supply seems to be a bit of a bother. So really, you don't you think that there's other things you can do instead? And I'm feeling really frustrated by this. So I think I'm going to have to be a bit more aggressive than I wanted to. I wanted to do maybe a little bit of a read on him first, but I'm afraid that I may not have the space. I'm getting very frustrated. I'm just it's a bit much. So I think I might just have to do a little bit of, let me see, what am I quite good at, really? Well, I would have to say, perhaps a little bit of bargaining. Dearest brother, I know this is quite a bit, it's all a bit much, but if you might take it into your kind heart to accept that your sister, who's always been quite upfront and always very honorable and quite, is just telling the truth about my husband, whom I love so very much, and it would break my heart so terribly if anything were to happen to him, and I know he didn't do anything at all, that if you might just, accept what I'm saying to you as a fact, and just not go poking about and making all sorts of trouble in the supply, I will speak to Mummy and Daddy and try to speak on your behalf, and so that they won't be so, they won't pressure you so much all the time the way they do. I mean, it's so terrible the way they pressure you. I mean, I've never approved of how terribly they treat you and how they speak about you, because I've always stood up for you, and I will definitely speak with them, in my next letter, and have them perhaps not, I imagine our next family gathering will be so much nicer and more pleasant if I speak on your behalf just a little bit. Just do a little bit of a bargain, if you don't mind.
Go ahead and roll your bargaining.
I will just do that, and I have one bonus die that we got.
Yes.
And I'm going to use just one more. I'm going to use one of my bonus die as well. So that's two. Because it's just a little bit important this moment. A 24.
Oof. And what is Cleveland's intrigue defense?
7.
7, 12, 17,
22.
22.
That's 4.
It's 4 degrees of success.
20 points of composure damage.
Okay.
And I just look at you with the biggest eyes.
Now, you can concede, in which case you would agree to her bargain.
What are my other options?
You can, can you stay in with 20 points of composure damage?
Minus your disposition.
Minus your disposition. Oh, also 4 6s in that.
Oh.
Which is a crit. So.
Also get the plus my 5 for my will, is that right? Your will on top?
No, it's the crippling words for 4 6s. Target loses their status from their intrigue defense until the end of their next exchange.
Darling, you don't want this to be all sorts of difficult, and I will help you out. I will even just give a little bit of a look and ask my husband a few things and see if he says anything, and if you let me take care of it, and you wouldn't want to hurt my feelings. I mean, the idea of my husband, you said that my husband might be jailed for something he didn't do, and that seems so unfair. My life is very difficult right now, Cleveland. You know, the other wives are sometimes mean to me, and it's so unfair. They sometimes say that I'm overbearing, which I think is not true at all, because I would never be overbearing. And they also say sometimes that I snoop and I find out things. And anyway, I just feel like I'm your dearest sister. Please, Cleveland.
I mean, you could take stress from ignoring it, which takes a -1d ongoing.
I think I'll have to take the stress. I mean, like it looks like my composure is 12.
Let me look at your sheets. Okay, so on your sheet, your composure is 12. You can spend, you can take frustration. You would need to take, you have 20 composure damage, minus your disposition to her.
That's the basic. I didn't, the bonus for the whatnot.
Yeah, they're because you have cutting words, which is 4. So minus your disposition, which
is whatever it is.
It's whatever it is.
Disposition would be
they're like affectionate, friendly, indifferent, unfriendly, malicious.
It would be unfriendly, so 4.
Okay, so 16. You could take 2 points of frustration and still be in.
He doesn't love his sister. I can't.
Well, I mean, he became a farrier specifically
to avoid me. That seems rude. This is terribly upsetting.
I think we're just gonna have to take it.
So
take the 2 frustration.
Take the 2 frustration, which because your will rank is 4. Yeah. So that's 8.
Am I the older or the younger? Are you my baby brother?
I'm the younger. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought so.
Yeah, that makes sense. There we go. That makes sense. So
sense.
you're down.
So that's like -4 for the disposition.
Minus 4 versus his disposition is 16. Minus 8 is 8. So you're at. This is what that's what your current composure is.
And he cannot use his status for his.
You can't use your status in your intrigue defense, which means that your intrigue defense goes down by 2 for the next round.
Sure.
But it is your round, Cleveland. How would you like to argue with your sister now?
I think he's going to convince her that he is not going to investigate her brother, but will actually
that sounds like a lie.
Have someone else.
So you're going to lie to your sister about investigating her husband.
Yes, that's right.
I'm all for it.
Is it a lie if you're mostly going to have us do the legwork on the investigation, though? Because you're not investigating.
No, I can't investigate. Now you have Cleveland's word that he is not going to investigate.
Really?
So I need you to roll that deception. It is.
Is that fast talk?
It could be. Are you trying to fast talk?
Oh no, that's different, right? It's a.
Yeah.
I think it's act. Would it just be act?
Yeah. It's. You're trying to. You're trying to lie. So what you're trying to do here is you can use deception act. Or deception bluff.
Okay.
Deception act, probably.
To convince, yeah.
Yeah, to convince.
Yeah.
And I have to put 2 penalty dice here?
No. There are no penalty dice. It's just whatever your base intrigue defense is -2. So instead of being a 7 next when.
Oh, but you get -1s for the frustration.
But you get two penalty dice for the frustration. Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Ooh, with a 9. Does that break your intrigue defense?
It's not. When you say you'll get someone else to, darling, dearest darling brother.
I didn't say that I was going to get someone else to do it. I just simply said that I am going to recuse myself from this investigation as I am, how you say, conflicted.
Well, yes, but see, that doesn't work at all, though. As you pointed out earlier in this conversation, you said that it would be much better for you to investigate than some stranger investigating, because after all, we love each other so very much. So, I think that you're right, that you should be the one to investigate, but I feel like this conversation we've just had is the investigation. Don't you think? And don't you think we're just sort of done with all this?
I don't believe that people are going to actually trust me on that alone.
What would you need? What would you need for them to just trust you on this one? Like, do you need?
I feel like that if your husband is a fine and upstanding quartermaster, he would need to just simply open up all of his books for everyone to carefully scrutinize.
Well, how about this then? Why don't you let me ask him to provide some portion of the books that are relevant to this horse situation, and so that you don't need all of the books, but like a portion of the books. So I will provide you and only you. I will get my husband. I'll get my husband to provide you and only you the sections of the books that have to deal with horses, but not all the rest of that stuff that's just so irrelevant and not important at all. Would that work then? And then you could look at them, and then you can make a little report about how you do it, and then we could be done. So I will just give you just the parts that are relevant to that. Don't you think that's a good idea? I think that seems. Also, you don't want to look at all of the books. It seems like such a bother. Books are so boring. Wouldn't you say?
No,
like
even if I were to
that.
do that, that would actually get me into as much trouble.
But why? You're looking at the books and you're making a report. It seems like that would work. But if it's not
based on suspicious and and questionable data.
No. Cleveland, listen. Why do you care to look at the books about how many bandages there were, or what time and date and what timetable and schedule and who brought in, for example, bits of food, or how much mutton there is, or how much salt there is, and all of that? Like, nobody needs to know that. That's not important at all.
Well, if the people involved in this matter were so sophisticated and cunning as to be able to trade horses to the bloody French, who knows what else they might have tried to do.
No, that's not what your investigation's about, my dear. Your investigation's about horses. That's what it's about, and so you should look at the books for the horses. So I think that if we can solve all of this right now, as I use my charm, to just, narrow the scope of this investigation for the good of everyone, just to the bits that you need.
I suppose I could just focus on the horses, but you know that there are other parties involved that you will not have any influence over.
But that's why I'm asking you to use your influence to make sure that we'll be all right.
Oh, but dear sister, you just mentioned that I'm just but a lowly farrier. What kind of influence could I possibly have with any of the officers?
Well, everybody knows that farriers love their horse people and all that, and you're currently a horse person, apparently. So,
Go ahead and roll that convince.
And I will. And I have my. Let me have to go back. I have one bonus die.
Yep.
This is my convince. I have one bonus die because I have one, but I have one penalty die because I'm a little bit frustrated. My brother's not being, you know, he's being so frustrating. Oh no!
That doesn't work. That's not possible.
No, it's not. Why did that not work that way?
Oh, because you put in the wrong value for penalty dice, and you rolled 66, dropping the lowest 12.
Oh, well, that doesn't seem to work at all. I don't want to do that. No, that's not good. So
I mean, I'll take that roll. I think that roll is perfectly fine.
It says, so I should take what we have, right, and drop the highest and the lowest, right? No, drop the lowest, take the highest. They're going to cancel out.
Yeah, so just don't roll the bonus dice. Right?
Do I re-roll or do I take this roll?
Reroll.
All right then.
Just
Convince.
to be on the safe side.
And then one penalty die.
Yes.
Submit. 16.
16.
So he's at an 8? 9. He's at a 9. So 9.
No,
4...
he's at a 5.
I thought he was at a... You minus 2, yes?
Yeah, he has a 7.
Oh. Well, so that's by 3?
7, 12, and 5 is 17. So you don't get to 3,
2.
It's just 2. So 2 degrees of success plus times your will rank is 10.
Mm-hmm.
Do you wish to continue the debate, Cleveland?
I mean, what are my options at this point?
You can concede and agree to her bargain that you will focus on that she will give you the
relevant
books.
And that you'll just, do your very best to convince everyone that this is good.
And you will provide a good faith effort to convince everyone else that you agree with your sister, that these are the only ones that matter, and of course, her husband had nothing to do with this.
What's the other option?
Taking stress, which is a minus 1d to everything you do.
I'll take the stress.
Ooh.
So you take the stress.
Mm-hmm. So and stress is like a more long-term, like, so frustration is a short-term sort of damage, and stress is a long-term damage.
So instead of obeying, you take a rank of stress. In this case,
there's just no place to put it on the character sheet, though. I don't.
No, you just have to remember that it's a minus 1d to awareness, cunning, and status tests. You can gain up to 2 ranks of stress. The third imposes a new drawback, which is a penalty,
Okay.
Actual technical drawback.
I'm just going to write it in the personal history. So minus 1 dice to awareness, cunning, and
status. So anything with those. So you basically what it is you have a psychological wound from debating with your sister, and
I mean that's who wouldn't, per se.
I wish the audience can see what she looks like. She looks amazing. She's the best.
But why don't you describe her?
I will. So Priscilla has got this lovely sort of large hairdo. It's quite large, and it's like a bit of a dull blonde. It's not super blonde, but but it's quite a little bit out of control. It's a little bit perhaps teased, a little bit perhaps more than one might think. What could be a wig? It's really unclear. Might be a wig. And then it's just a gigantic hat. It's very large. It's so large, this hat. It's got a lot on it. There's a lot happening on this hat that, when you walk, there's this rustling sound when she moves, and she wears a lot of petticoats, and she makes quite a lot of sound as she's wandering about, and her dress has got this, it's quite bright, it's very lovely, so nice sort of yellow, and it's quite expensive, the dress. It's well done, really, and she has like a nice brooch, and she's one of the sort of people that you would not miss, because she's loud.
Because she makes sure that you don't miss her.
No.
But I think.
Sorry, if you don't mind me interrupting, I think we're going to need a Priscilla counter, a cursed Priscilla counter as well.
Well, that seems to be an appropriate thing for me to work on as I as we take a short break, and as we will come back very shortly to fix and see what's going on. But we will see you all shortly, my friends. Hi! Welcome back. We are back, all. Thank you for those wonderful donations. Also, thank you, Donald, for that great donation. That means that all of the players get another, bonus dice.
Yes.
You spoil us. You spoil us.
Yes.
Which means that that's a thing that I'm going to fix on the overlay right now. And that's a very useful thing for some people who are slightly lacking, shall we say, in such things. I'm gonna put that there so you can actually see it.
I just feel like the poor person who has debt is like the best person to pin on all these problems. I really don't know what the problem is.
But as we do this, we are going to focus. I believe somebody wanted to do something.
Yeah. That in light of the last thing that just happened, I was wondering if perhaps I might spend a monologue token to see what was going on in Cleveland's head.
Yes, you can indeed spend that monologue token to see what's going on in Cleveland's head as the camera kind of focuses in on Cleveland as his sister kind of not quite flounces, but almost flounces away.
But then turns sideways to get out through the flap.
No, it's not that big. It's not that big because remember it is 1809, not 1789.
No, different outfits. Empire waists.
Empire waists.
Actually, I have a
Sure.
something.
So, so the scene will be basically Cleveland sitting on the ground, his back against the anvil, and he's hitting the bottle fairly hard at this moment. Just muttering about how, do I really have to be honest all the time? Do I need to take pride in my work? Does it really matter if I get hung or not? I wonder if Sophia's busy right now. Maybe we should go see Sophia later. But more importantly, would it be so bad if Quibble did take the fall for this? I mean, I'm fairly certain he's involved right now. If my stupid sister were to just mind her own business and not even come to me like this, I probably would not have suspected him. But, she might as well have just painted a bullseye on him. So maybe this would be the opportunity to cause the downfall of my sister and her stupid husband, and then I can gloat to my parents about how they backed the wrong horse. Pun intended.
I love all of this. And what we see as the camera pulls back from the farriers is Sergeant Griffiths leaning back, having another drink, and just looking frustrated and upset, and stressed. As we pull the camera back and we focus in on Lieutenant Valentine. Where do we find you, sir? Oh, but wait a moment. I should say one thing before we do. As the camera pulls back, I, as the GM, am going to spend one of my three resolve tokens and have had Ben Perkins standing behind the farrier station and overheard this wonderful tete-a-tete between Priscilla and the good sergeant. But most importantly, that point about, well, the lieutenant is in need of money, so obviously he must be the one who has been selling horses.
That means I get that resolve token, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. I will take it. I will take it. I love some good rumors. I love them.
So now Ben Perkins at least knows, and we see this as the camera pulls back. And we're just gonna let the camera focus in on Lieutenant Valentine. Lieutenant, what are you up to at this moment?
Well, of course, I've finished doing all of my rounds. I made sure all of my horses were good. I made sure everybody else's horses were good. I made sure that the captain had everything that he needed for the next day. I wanted to make sure that everything was in order, that everything's all right. And then I feel like I should maybe see about getting some clothing for this party, but I don't have any clothing like that, so I thought I should maybe see someone who could. Maybe I should talk to the doctor, maybe? I mean, he knows these things. He might have, or maybe.
Well, while you're contemplating your fine sartorial choices for the evening ahead and the festivities that might be erupting, there is a figure of a very striking woman striding her way towards you, Lieutenant. Lieutenant, what does your wife look like?
Oh, she's amazing. She's Indian. We met back in India, back when the regiment was there. And she's got black hair, sort of pulled back. She wears a really sort of wonderful sari. She's got a grace to her of someone who is sophisticated but not fancy, if that makes any sense. It's like that kind of a mix of somebody who's like thoughtful and worldly, but is not like a super rich person, but is like a good middle class, sort of upper middle class sort of type of person. Her clothing is homemade but exquisite, right? Like she's got like it's like the most sort of amazing stuff. And I imagine like it's still with good fabrics from back in India, but you know, maybe in the future you have to start making do with whatever kinds of things they have over here. Yeah.
So this is your charming, lovely wife, Anushka, who is approaching you with purpose.
Well, I can't say that I was going to, I was a little hoping to catch you off guard, but it seems I've already done that. Good husband.
My dear, how are you?
Oh, you know how it is. Hands are a little, you know, it's a long day. Do you have a moment that I can borrow you?
Of course. And I give a quick look around to see if anybody's watching, to make sure that we're not being overseen. And then I take her hands and I kiss her fingers because I know it's been a long day.
Thank you. And she'll sort of reach into a pocket and hold out a piece of paper and be like, this came for you.
Oh.
I can't say that I saw who dropped it off or where it came from.
Oh. Huh.
I didn't read it, but I assume when one leaves sneaky notes behind, they're usually trying to be subtle, unseen. So I figured, plus I just wanted 5 seconds to be away with you before I return back to my duties.
I have a small question. I need your permission for something.
Okay.
Well, the officers are going to go to some sort of soiree, they called it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's apparently some sort of gentleman's thing at some sort of Spanish nobleman's estate somehow. And so I'm supposed to go. So one, is it all right?
Of course. You want to spend more time among the officers, and you know, maybe it'll make you feel more comfortable with them. You know, they're, you know, I know. And she'll just like put a hand on your cheek. I know. But this could be fun, you know? A party. Why do you seem so nervous about a party?
got all sorts of. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know what they're going to. I don't know. I don't know which fork to use.
Well, I think I heard some of the other officer wives go on about outside in or something with forks, but I think you know how I feel about all of that. It's
silly.
Well, cultural differences and all, but it's a party. You'll get to meet someone, get to know your officers better.
I suppose. Also, one other thing. I hate to ask, but we're going to try to find me to get some clothes that I can wear, maybe from someone who died or something like that. And do you think something that would be appropriate for, some sort of Spanish nobleman's place? Do you think you might be able to do a little bit of alterations before they go, so I don't look...
You want me to make you look like the strapping gentleman that I know you are. Well, Henry Valentine, of course.
Okay. What can I do for you? How can I help? What can I get you something, anything?
No. My love, no. Just whatever this note is, as long as you're not telling me that it's some secret lover that I need to know about.
No.
Yeah. I would understand, curiosity gets the better of a person and everything. And
you should know, I have never had eyes for anyone else but you. And it was like I only got to see the first time I saw you.
I will say those parties are, I've heard a lot of things.
I have too.
It could just be talk. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going to get drunk, and I'm going to sort of make sure I'm upstanding the entire time that I'm there and just, be serious.
I don't think one drink will hurt you. I think of it like you're just blending in. You're an exploring officer for the night. You're exploring the world of high society. And, if there happens to be some pretty lady that catches your eye, just don't tell me about it. That's all I ask.
You know me. I've never been able to lie at all, ever. Not one time. Every time I've tried, it always ends up bad. So
I know. That's why I'm not worried about you going.
Okay, that's fair. So maybe I can find something nice when I'm there and I can bring it back for the kids.
Oh, please do.
I don't know what they have there, but
I'm not sure if there will be anything for children. Just taking a guess. Although, if there was something... Ravi's decided that he's very interested in horses lately.
Oh.
So...
Well...
If there's something we can do, I don't know where it's coming from. He seems to keep pretending everything is a horse that he can ride into bed. I think he's just looking up to his father. It's fine, but...
I have an idea. I'll have to ask permission, but, maybe I'll ask my captain. He might be able to do something about it. But, they do the... He's all right. He's all right.
I don't want to talk ill about somebody, but have you ever met somebody that sometimes it seems like not all the lanterns are lit?
He's much smarter than some people in the mess would give him credit for. He's got a lot of, he's a sort of, what do you call it? He's a dreamer, but I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. Like he's, that sounds bad, but it's not bad at all. I mean,
I knew a dreamer like that once. Spent all of his time dreaming and dreamed himself right into a river and did not end well.
The captain made me his XO. He trusts me, and so...
Yeah, well, at least he has good sense.
Well, there. Look, when we do the battle plan, sometimes we have little horses like to represent the units, and maybe I could get one of those for Ravi.
Ravi would love it.
I'm gonna get something for you too. Something Something nice. I feel like I never get you anything nice at all, and I'm gonna find something.
You've given me a good life. Gotten to
You
see more of the world than I ever thought I would ever see.
Me too.
And I have 2 wonderful children, and I have you, my love.
Anushka,
I think that's enough.
it's not enough. I'm gonna figure something out.
I know.
You deserve better, that's all.
I know. But you're going to have a party, and it'll be fun. And somehow I will get Tara to maybe not chew on everything.
Well,
If perhaps you can ask the captain for maybe an afternoon where you take the children for maybe just as an entertainment. I
will ask.
I think they would love that chance, and I just at some point would like it if our daughter would not try to eat my clothing.
Well, my mother told me that I chewed all the things all the time. So it might
Your mother told me that you ate a drape once, which
I did.
don't understand. What's it? What?
It wasn't good tasting, but I was feeling a little stressed out, and then sometimes I just chew things. But not since I was a kid, mostly. Most of the time. Yeah.
Maybe don't do that at the party.
No.
Let's not lead with that.
Okay. Do you have any more advice for me before I go to this thing?
Just
You are so good with people.
she just kind of, takes her moment. I think there's nothing wrong with being somebody who listens and observes before they interact.
All right. Tell jokes. Tell jokes about murder. People like that. It kills. Okay.
Oh, let's practice some jokes later.
Okay.
You can try.
I'll
We can
ask-
see.
I'll ask my captain if I can bring the kids to, when we're not, it's for just to see. I could maybe take them a tour around everything.
I think it would be nice.
Okay. I'll thank you for this note.
I don't, that's, like I said, don't know what it is.
As long as it's not a secret, I will tell you.
Acceptable.
If it's my secret to tell, then I will. If it's not my secret to tell, for all I know, I don't know what it is. And then he looks at the note with a little bit of trepidation. I hope it's nothing involving a bad thing that's happening right now that I don't think I'm allowed to tell you about because, business, work.
Right. That's a weird way to say that. That's something we'll practice too later.
Right.
I need to get back.
Yeah, of course. Sorry. And I give her a kiss on the cheek. I will see you later. Okay.
Yes.
I love you.
She blows a kiss, says, I love you, and walks.
And
gets
he
to walk
says, I
away.
love you in Hindi.
Yeah, she answers back.
There is this moment as the good Mrs. Valentine, Mrs. Anushka Valentine, walks away, that the lieutenant just kind of turns back to his squad, who are all just kind of looking at you, going,
Yeah, as you were. Don't you have horses to groom? Or something? And like
you open the letter.
yes. Sorry. That's just player knowing that this letter is not like, I don't believe the letter says something like, hey, Lieutenant Valentine, how you doing? You won the lottery. Yay. Like, I just don't feel like that's what the letter says. That's just my feeling. Maybe it is.
I would not say it's Lieutenant Valentine, you've won the lottery. It might be something more along the lines of very politely addressed to Lieutenant Henry Valentine, with a very fine hand and a very fine calligraphy, requesting a sum of £13 for past due bills, as amounts for the purchase of cloth and trim. And there's this little subnote. We will exchange information if that is easier for you to acquire than the sum of £13.
I tuck the letter inside my uniform. I look around, and I'm looking for. This is a thing that does not exist, right? This is not the thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, but this is the, like, you know, when you that there's certain, like, you go back to like past lives. You know what I mean? And so like I look around to see if there's like, and this makes no sense. It makes no sense. I know it makes no sense, but that's where my mind's at, right? I look to see if there's like tilling that I can do. Like I was thinking about when I was younger, right? Like there would be like chores that I could do to sort of like make extra money. Like I could go to somebody else's farm and I could, you know, do some work on other people's farms. And it's that thing that like when you need money, you like look to say, oh, but of course I'm not on the farm anymore. Like I'm in this middle of this encampment and there are those soldiers here and like there's no kind of extra tilling I can do to make money. And like as I look around to see this thing and realize where I am and I'm not where I was, I kind of just stand there for a moment realizing there's like, oh no. It's just
oh no, Coldrake, they would make much more than that because it's 40 shillings off the drum. So you would make the 9 shillings a day is minus expenses. So your pay would be higher than that, but your take home is like 10 shillings.
Yeah, I need 13.
No, you're at £13, dear.
13. That's no. Didn't you say 13 shillings? Isn't that what you said?
No, I said 13
Are you sure?
I
feel like it'd be so awesome if what you said was 13. No. Okay. Well. All right. Well, I tried. I tried. Oh no. And it's just like this. Basically, he's gonna stand there for a minute, trying to figure out, like, rack his brain about how he can make money, because £13 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Soon, yeah, it's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
As the note mentioned, they would accept information in exchange from a coin.
That's interesting. I'm bad at lying, though. Then I'm gonna get all stressed out. Like, and I'm a bit. So I'm gonna just basically stand in the middle of the field, like, just short-circuiting a little bit, trying to like figure out like how do I make money, but I don't. It's like there's a bunch of that for a bit. Yep. The shillings to the pound it's not. This is before the metric.
It's not a base.
It's like
10.
what? Yeah, it's like 122 or something weird like that.
It's
or 220. It's something very strange.
It's
for reasons that nobody needs to know is looking this up.
No, it's 20 shillings on the pound and 12 pennies to a shilling.
That's what it is.
And then a penny could be divided into half pennies or farthings. Yes.
Too much math.
Because whatever. But as we pull the camera back from the mildly consternated lieutenant standing there as his men are looking on, slightly concerned, because there was this moment where they were kind of half joking, making, laughing at the lieutenant, whose wife came to visit and, who obviously, well, she's much too good for him.
Carry on. She's brilliant.
She is much too good for him. But then there's this kind of personality change where he's obviously frustrated and not sure what's going on, so your platoon is a little concerned, questioning what's going on. But the camera's gonna pull back even more and drop in on Captain Bisley. And it is, Captain, what do we find you doing?
Whatever the sort of end of days day tasks are maybe organizing in the back of his head it's like, okay, so they're not forgery, like trying to like this is before Sherlock Holmes existed, but this is like the Sherlock Holmes brain is trying to run in the background as he's, doing his general duties for the end of day.
So you're, where do we find you? On the parade grounds? On the,
Probably just coming off the parade grounds. I imagine like sort of, general inspections at the end of the day are sort of done. This is sort of like the wrap up has kind of happened.
Okay. There is another gentleman, tall, distinguished, blonde, small ponytail, as he has, another fine captain as he kind of approaches you, has a very slightly pretty look to him. One Captain Pomeroy. You see kind of making his way as he begins his own attempts to deal with the ongoing issues of, well, your missing horses.
So it's just like back of his head, gears turning, look up, friendships. It's like bright lights, like, oh, good Captain Pomeroy, what brings you over this way?
Oh, well, I'm just puzzling over some of these requests that I have received, having to do with the accounting of our horses. I was looking to see where Sergeant Griffiths might be, as I have some follow-up questions for him, but he seems to have disappeared for the rest of the day.
Doesn't seem like him. But I can always see what I can do. Or do you want to walk off somewhere not here, anywhere else, somewhere more private, perhaps? Just Tristan, please get me out of here. I need a break.
Do you want to go for a jog?
Something a little less rough on the body, if you wouldn't mind. A drink, perhaps.
Well, I suppose that is something that we can do as well. You seem very troubled, and he will carefully fold up all the notes that he was busy perusing and tuck them into a coat pocket.
All right, yeah, drinks. And it's just, walking. It's like jogging. Who are you talking to?
So there are just some times that you're just not going to be able to rely on your horse, and you need to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, you talk like somebody that, going to bedlam there. But, so you've got a bunch of notes too about horses and the like.
Yes, it seems that while we have enough horses to certainly field all of my soldiers, the surplus that I had, we had accumulated, seems to have diminished some, and I'm not quite sure where they might have gone.
That is a trouble. We've had some strange sort of transfers going on, things that, frankly, I don't entirely understand how these things get lost, but from my understanding, this is going to be an ongoing problem for now, and don't worry, I'm working on it as much as I can be.
Yeah. Well, you are quite diligent in those regards, and certainly surround yourself with very capable people, like good Lieutenant Valentine, for instance.
Oh yeah, I got real lucky on that one.
Right, but you would do well to make some additional allies, because there are quite a few ambitious folk within this Cavalry, and you really can't show any signs of weakness, let's just say.
You've got some suggestions, then, is what I'm hearing.
Well,
oh, come on, you don't have to play coy. I'm not a pretty lady. You can just tell me what do you think I should, who should I be trying to get to know here?
I just think that you could be a little bit more assertive, that's all.
I'm plenty assertive, thank you.
Yes. Well, no, not really.
No, God, you're probably right, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm just saying that, maybe perhaps you might want to be very wary of a certain Willoughby Ingram, for instance.
Oh, God. I mean, I know he's one of mine to worry about, but God, what a snot.
Well, this is true, but he does seem to be very popular with the ladies.
Oh, good Lord. And yes.
He seems to be very resourceful, too, at sourcing items that are quite difficult to obtain. One might question whether or not his sources are quite above board, I should say.
Well, I suppose it doesn't hurt to sort of understand where he's sort of coming from. When you say he's good with the ladies, do you think he's got anyone particular in mind? Are you saying I should be worried about,
No. I don't think so. I mean,
all right.
I mean, he's okay. He does quite fine. But
no better than you, old chap.
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly no Cleveland Griffiths, I would say.
If the rumors are true, then nobody is.
Yes, well, his condition certainly leads him to be very trustworthy, I suppose.
Yes, trustworthy.
Yeah, but I from what I understand, I think that Ingram might be currying favors in order to expand his influence, and perhaps might be involved in some of the missing supplies. That's all.
Oh. Well, I was already hoping to sort of get to know him a little better. All that's already on the plans.
Is it?
Well, there's one of those soirees again,
Oh, right. Oh, yes, I certainly got my invitation.
Oh, I've got mine too, and I'm pretty sure Willoughby did too, as far as I know.
I'm sorry. Did you say that you got invited?
Don't look so shocked. I'm likable. I go to parties. I know how to mingle and banter, and yeah, I got one. I know it was a shock to me too.
That's well, I suppose there's hope for you yet, but you might want to make sure that you find a outfit that has a certain how do the French call it, a je ne sais quoi to it.
What is with you're the second person today to comment on how I look? Do I not look like a man that knows how I can dress myself?
I mean, sure, but you don't dress well enough like a Willoughby Ingram, for instance.
All right.
I mean, as scummy as he might be, he certainly cuts a striking figure in his well-tailored clothing. I'm just saying that perhaps maybe you don't want to, continue buying off rack or something.
I do what I got with what I got. All right, I'm fine. Everything's, Major Spaulding. The doctor.
Maybe you should consider getting some better household help, for instance.
That's Mary's problem. That's her thing.
Is it?
It should be.
Well, I'm just saying that maybe you should start ensuring that there's a equal share in performance within the household. That's all.
There's certainly some kind of performance in the household. I think it was a mistake to bring her. I know it's such a topic change, but I don't know. Sometimes I wonder.
Pomeroy just sort of sits there silently and
oh yeah, this is absolutely
he's starting to get a little bit uncomfortable now.
This is not the first time that Pomeroy has had to sit through Captain Bisley going back and forth about what do I do about this wife that doesn't love me, and that I don't even know if I love her. I'm just trying to make it work. This is probably not the first time you've heard it. And I don't know, man. Sometimes I think she already had one affair. Who's to say she's not? Who's to say I didn't bring her here and she's not going to have another?
Whoa. Wait, you know that she had an affair?
Do you not remember? We had a whole... I told you all of this before we left. Wait, we were really drunk. Did I tell you? I don't remember. I'm going to say
no, I think I would remember something like that.
You were, now that I think about it, I did tell you, but you were already passed out. So
that sounds a little bit more like me.
And that's...
He says unconvincingly.
You were, it was a real rough night.
Yes, sure. I'm sure it was.
Yeah. You, Mr. I'm not gonna drink King and Country, and all of a sudden you were knocking him back like nobody's business for King and Country, and, it didn't take long, and you would...
I did it to improve my constitution.
Exactly. That's what you kept saying. Constitution. And I told you, take a constitutional, mate. You need to sit down. It didn't end well.
Yes, I suppose that's true. Perhaps a little more water next time would certainly help.
You really want to drink the water?
Well, I would hope it would be better prepared, treated, perhaps.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah. I'll be sure of it at this soiree that we'll both be at. He'll be fine. Everything's fine. There's no problems with anything.
Yeah, I'm sure that someone will certainly respond to your very awkward and perhaps stressed expression. I'm sure it'll attract all the ladies.
I suppose that would be fine. It's fine.
Maybe you should learn to loosen up a little bit.
I know how to be loose. I do a quadrille every now and then. I know what I'm doing. I hated dance. I just hate it so much. So much. What, you mean I gotta move that way and then... But if you don't...
there are other ways to dance that are more impressive and more recreational. Just saying.
Well, like a ballet? Not French,
Oof. I don't know where to begin with that.
Skip to the end. I suppose I'll talk to the good doctor. He's offered to dress me for this party.
Oh, you're definitely in good hands with Dr. Spaulding. those regards. He is quite famous in these types of soirees.
So I've heard. I just didn't think there was any weight to that. So what do you know about the good doctor?
Oh, well, there was this one time in Barcelona. Well, let's not go there. I promised that I would not spread rumors about what he and Griffiths happened to get into while they were there.
It's not really spreading rumors if you're telling me, though. Who am I going to tell?
I'm just going to let that go. I don't feel like you can be of the utmost discreet.
Okay, just because when we were children, I gave away the fact that they were throwing you a surprise birthday party does not mean I'm not trustworthy now. It's been like 15 years. Get over it, mate.
Okay. And so Pomeroy's just going to look around a little bit, and he's just going to whisper it into Bisley's ear. Nobody else gets to know.
Ooh. Oh. All right. That's, he's just gonna clap Pomeroy's shoulder and be like, I really am going to definitely need some help before this party, so I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah, okay. We'll do that. Good talk.
Oh, if you want to leave your horse notes for Griffiths, I can take care of it.
Oh, yeah, sure. And then he will just hand over his notes and be done with it.
All right. Good captain. I'll see you at the party. Right? Is this? I don't know what I'm doing.
Maybe you should just get a good night's sleep.
All right. I think as soon as Pomeroy's gone, though, the captain's gonna be like, chill, like, yeah, I'm fine. And then it's like, okay, I need to look at these notes. What happened here?
You can roll knowledge. Wait, hold on. Wait, I need the right thingy. Oh,
I don't have specialties. I just have knowledge.
yeah, I know. I just need to make sure I have the right. You can roll. You can either roll knowledge research or deception cheat.
I'll do knowledge. I have a better knowledge roll.
You
And
do also have 4 bonus dice.
I was gonna say, I think I'll use at least one just to like. I really want to know what kind of crap my friend is getting into.
Okay. 13. Not bad. Not bad. Pretty good, actually. There are... Excuse me. The notes are pretty much the same as is yours, the same kind of percentage across the board of missing about what is like 3 to 5% of
Yeah, I think that was what we
total,
determined.
based on what was missing and how many, the mathematics involved across the board from, across the platoons and therefore the same kind of ranks and numbers. There doesn't seem to be any difference in timeline or extensiveness. Whoever is doing this is very well researched. They know what they're doing. They're focusing through. They're not taking, they're not being greedy and taking like all the horses from a single unit, or, it's 1 or 2 here or there. The timeline is spread out. They're not rushing themselves. It all looks above board in individual cases. It's only when you put them all together and you have Sir Arthur Wellesley tell you that they found dead English horses in the possession of the French, or horses in possession of the French cavalry, that you can confirm that there is something not quite copacetic happening.
Yeah. And there's nothing I can see on here that directs to any specific supply officer maybe, or somebody in that. It's all pretty much, it looks so on brand for the processes that were just kind of.
Yep.
If you didn't know what to look for, you wouldn't know it was gone.
Yeah, and it's the problem, as you discover, really comes down to the fact that the receiver is never informed in advance that a horse is coming. So if they don't know the horse is coming, they can't, they're not looking for it to never have shown up. It's only when the horse gets there that they would then send a receipt notice back to the regiment to, as part of the transfer or whatever, saying, we've received it. But because...
Did we get receipts back?
You do, but not for all, and that's the ones that's how you know which ones are obviously being taken, because again, you have the piece of paper that transferred it out, you don't have the piece of paper transferring it in. And the problem comes down to that the receiver doesn't have any advance notice that the horse is coming, therefore there's no oh, well, this horse, we have the paperwork for it transferring it out, but there's no paperwork for it transferring, receiving it, because that receiver didn't know to look for it, and therefore it's never marked missing, it's nothing like that, it's just never gets there. Just doesn't get there.
Okay, so I didn't really get anything too much new out of this,
but you
but
have
I I can see that it's not just us.
Yeah, you have confirmed it's not just your company, it is across the board in your regiment.
All right, well...
which means that it is a slightly bigger concern.
Yeah, it's a big scandal. So no wonder they put it on us to figure it out. That pressure is not going to weigh at all in Bisley's mind as he's taking all of this. I don't even think he's going to take the notes or anything. I think he's just going to hold on to them and go back to where he's sleeping and not really think about it too much, but make a mental note that he should probably hit up the good doctor for fashion.
Question, Captain. You said you're heading back to your tent quarters. Do you sleep with your wife?
What does that mean? I'm sure they're the same tent. I'm sure.
Do you share quarters with your wife?
I mean, it's in the same tent. But as for anything else in regards to any type of human contact or in the same bed setup, no.
Oh, well, you would notice when you approached your tent, your wife isn't there.
Probably not that uncommon, and as much as I want to be upset about it, I think he'll wait up a little bit to see when she comes home. Sleep is squishy.
It's not that late. She, it's just, maybe 20-30 minutes after you, she comes in. She has a brand new, very fine Spanish lace shawl. And she was smiling until she walked into your tent and then saw you were there.
You look lovely and brand new.
Why, thank you, darling. I do appreciate your concern and appreciation for my accoutrement, which you could take a little bit more care with of your own.
So I've heard. And it's something I plan to do.
Really?
Yes. I'd appreciate a little less shock in your voice. But seems that there has been a few suggestions to tidy up in some way.
In indeed. I'm sure that you will be absolutely perfectly attired in the future. Just mildly shocked that you wouldn't listen to me about it. Therefore, I must assume... Should I be concerned about the new woman in your life that you are taking this fashion advice from? It's obviously not me that you are concerned enough about to care about your appearance.
It's not a woman at all.
I'm sure it's not. And at that, she just kind of, like, turns away from you and, like, does that whole, like, literally pulls the covers over her head and ignores you for the rest of the evening.
I didn't say it. There's no... I don't want another woman.
She doesn't respond to you.
Yeah, I don't expect you to. You're welcome. Good night. Hope you had a wonderful day, too.
But we're gonna pull back from the captain's tent as the lights have begun down. Begin to dim and begin to, candles and firelight go across the camp, and the sun has set. The purples and reds of a summer sunset across the hills of Spain have kind of dimmed to a darker twilight. Blues and purples. The stars are out. There's this moon that can be seen, and we pan the camera down. Doctor, what are you doing?
So, there is a thing that the doctor does from time to time. The doctor has already, he's seen patients. Things are kind of stabilized at this point, to the point that he's not needed around the clock at the place where folks are recovering. They're mostly recovering at this point. We've held that we're holding the city pretty well. So he is after he has sent off invitations, which he did earlier in the day, and sort of figured out what he wanted to do, sartorially, he slipped off, and is out in he is out in the city.
How is the good doctor dressed across the city?
Well, do you want me to tell you privately what I'm doing, or shall I say it out loud?
You can do either. I embrace whatever my players wish to do.
Okay.
However much you wish to share or know or invest in. I like secrets.
And can I spend a resolve token to make somebody see him? I don't care who. That's it. I want somebody to see him. Whatever he's doing, I don't know what the secret is. I don't know how he's dressed, but if he's in the city doing something exciting, I want someone to see it, and I will spend a resolve token.
I know exactly how this is going to happen, but tell me what you're doing, Doctor, and then I will tell you how this works out. But I will take that. Do you accept that, Doctor? Do you accept that somebody seeing what happens?
Absolutely.
That means you get the resolve token from Trooper. So you should be at 2. So everyone should be back at 2 now.
Oh. I had 1, I spent 1, I now have 1.
No, you had 2.
Yeah.
You spent 1. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Everyone started with 2. You spent 1 in the first episode to give it to me.
Okay. Yeah.
I spent 1 and gave it to Trooper so that Ben Perkins heard the conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
I want somebody so exciting to see this, like Willoughby or Griffiths. Like I just want whatever that is.
It'll be good. It'll be good.
I'm so excited.
It'll be good.
We'll see. We'll see. The interesting thing here is that the doctor actually, on going out, goes to a couple of places. When he steps out initially, he is dressed He's dressed somewhat elegantly. He's not like absolutely to the nines. He's saving that for the party. But he's got a very, very nice sort of coat, shiny vest. And he is very just sort of audacious. He probably has a cane that he's brought. And he's also so heading out, not really caring if anyone sees him, because he's, I assume we can come and go, if I don't, unless there's something in place keeping us at the camp. So he's kind of wandered off, and folks will, I think, see him going to a tavern, and just sort of spending like maybe, like the first half hour or so, just sort of hanging out and just sort of carousing a little bit with folks, just sort of chanting, just sort of listening to amusing stories, telling a couple of amusing stories. After the first half hour to an hour, though, is when what I think the camera will probably see is they'll see him, he'll kind of slip somewhere in the back, where there is, let's say, there's a broken cart behind this tavern, where he lifts up, he goes out back and he lifts up a blanket that's down sort of in there, sort of very out of sight. He takes off his coat, replaces it with a sort of a darker, more subdued one, and sort of an overcloak, and a big sort of and a less ostentatious, silly hat. It's actually a slightly sort of a broader brim, so it's harder to see his features. And he pulls out a doctor's bag, and he will, cover and conceal his stuff that he's put there. He's left behind there, and or he might have packed some of it into the bag if there's enough room. He probably did that, actually, and so that he's still got his change of clothing, which just the outer layer, and he will then head out of the alley and into the poorer part of town, where he will probably be seen going into a house. Or an apartment. There's some flickering light.
As the camera turns to follow the doctor as he leaves into the darker point of town, the camera kind of pulls back on that turn, so it kind of like focused in on his face and all of these things of change and all of these, changing his manners, his behavior, and turns at the same direction and then pulls backwards so you see a wider view of the alley, and a little bit further down the alley in the opposite direction that the doctor went, you just see the light of a cheroot kind of illuminate the face of the colonel as he's lounging in the doorway of this other tavern, blows out some smoke, flicks the ash off the cheroot, smirks, and goes back inside the tavern and flicks the cheroot out the door as he walks inside. So for that resolve token right now, the colonel knows that the good doctor is acting in such a manner, but does not choose at this moment to confront him as such. We pull the camera back. We'll rewind the clock. We'll wind the clock forward, shall we say, to the next morning. And there is, of course, the sound of the bugle for revelry, sounds of shouts of sergeants awakening people through troops, and a number of others. There is, as we see, come back to focus in on this, well, the far end of the hospital tent. The other end, which apparently now is called the Scandal Alcove, because it is. And you would just see as this female figure dressed in navy and black with a headscarf wrapped around, a veil kind of thrown over her hair, stride away from the back of, just as dawn begins to break. Her features are kind of hidden and no one really knows who she is, as leaves the tent, well, quarters of the good doctor. We see another couple figures making their rounds. Major Atkins, the exploring officer who apparently has Sir Wellesley's ear, and makes himself, well, rather indispensable, one might say. Apparently his coat buttons up over quite a few other duties than one would expect. He's out walking, and there's another taller gentleman with him. Kind of dusky, sandy brown, lighter colored hair, a full beard, which is slightly out of fashion at the time. This gentleman is also dressed in a uniform. Doesn't quite match the uniform of the exploring officer, but if one were to kind of gauge, looks to be, an artillery officer. Another one of those poor gentlemen that is, well, considered to be slightly less than sane. Artillery officers, of course, dealing with His Majesty's cannons and gunpowder, that sort of scale. They suffer from two minor problems. One, an excessive number of them seem to lose their hearing very quickly. And two, they all seem to be slightly, well, how should one put it? They and cavalrymen are both firmly of the opinion that there's a lot of fun to be had on a battlefield if one can do it correctly. And they quite enjoy the danger of their jobs, as it were. But these two gentlemen are kind of seen as we pull the camera across the field to the morning muster. Captain Bisley with his 3 lieutenants, Valentine, Quibble, and Ingram.
I would have made sure that the captain was ready, because I always just arrive just early enough, just in case. Just checking in on my captain.
Can you roll me an awareness notice, please?
Of course, because I always show up early, because that's how I am.
That's
awareness notice. All right, that'll just be awareness. I'm not going to use any bonus die, but we will see how this goes. A 4. I'm quite preoccupied. I've got things on my mind,
Yes, there are a lot of things on your mind. Quite a lot. As you and your captain and the other 2 lieutenants for your platoon, your other platoons, Captain Pomeroy and his lieutenants, many of the men are there. The doctor seems to be making his way kind of slowly, maybe this morning. Awake, but there. The colonel is there, of course the sergeants, all of them, including Sergeant Griffiths, are making their way. Well, I don't think the good doctor is necessary. Well, I don't know. Doctor, are you in a position with which to say that you are aware of the goings-on of your surroundings?
I think he's aware. He's a little tired, but yeah, he can see, that which goes on. He's not his senses are not completely dulled. The various activities last night were quite delightful, but not perhaps perhaps not so overpowering as to cause too much. Although he is staggering somewhat, as though he does have a hangover. As it seems, anyone looking at him would probably just jump to that conclusion, because he is sort of he does from time to time just kind of sort of touch the side of his head, and will turn at louder noises a little bit.
So I will say that you and the Sergeant Griffiths can both make an awareness notice roll if you choose. I'm going to say that the Captain Bisley is probably not going to notice this.
Oh, definitely not. It's not like the good captain got any sleep last night. He was doing the Pepe Sylvia of the horse thievery, trying to put it all together in that way, and also just once again going through the list of inventories of why he is a failure as a husband and a captain and a person, and just all of the other usual. Just usually this only takes like 2 hours, and he gets like a good 3 hours of sleep, and tonight there was no sleep to be had.
I had a great dinner and played with my kids. It was nice. Just saying.
So I'm going to say only the doctor notices this.
Of course.
With a 22.
Yeah.
That is what we call a heroic level success.
I did get a crit on my 6.
Yes, but it's still a 6. You are awake and nominally aware of what's mostly normally going on around you. But you aren't going to notice this. Doctor?
Yes.
There's a very odd smell on the air. It's sweet. Kind of, it takes a second because as you're playing up this hangover, is as you go through and therefore have to do such things. Takes you a second, and it's not floral. It's not like jasmine or honeysuckle or even, orange blossom that you kind of get here in the more southern climes that one would be used to. It's chemical.
Hmm.
And then you smell something else. Burning. And
Alright.
I will give you, because you have that heroic level success, you have one action with which you can act before the entire,
The badness.
you would notice a small amount of flame coming from the side of your medical tent, particularly the side where your anesthetics are kept. Where this might kind of possibly go boom in the nearest moments.
Okay. So I think what he's going to immediately do then, we still have patients in there, yes?
You do indeed, Harding included. Good,
Okay.
The good
Hadley.
Sergeant Hadley.
I wrote him down.
Good Hadley, who, poor Ensign Hadley.
Okay. Yeah, that being the case, oh man, this is one of those cases where logistics may not be what I think they are. So bear with me. This is going to be immediately just sort of. He's going to do something that he doesn't tend to do very often, that you do not see him do very often. And he's going to turn and give an order. to, any troops that might be nearby. And he will say, he will just turn to them and say, and say, "Tent fire! We got to get them out!" And he's going to turn and run toward the coming explosion, sort of gesturing, hopefully, for the troops to accompany him.
So what we're going to do with this, you have two options. You can roll Persuasion Intimidate or Warfare Command.
Let's see. I think we're going to go with Persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, because he probably didn't phrase it. He didn't phrase it exactly as an order per se, but this is a thing we need to do. I am going to spend a bonus die on this.
Okay.
Because I feel as though this is important.
I mean, I think so. I think that's a valid spending of one of your 4 bonus dice.
Yes. Yeah, I have been hoarding up until now. Okay. Here we go. Yeah.
Okay. With a 13, that is a success. That's even, it's above a challenging, I think it, 12 is a difficult, or no, what's the one above challenging? I have to remember. But it's a good, very good success. You would get a large number of the troops immediately running. I will let the other players determine their actions to this command, but you definitely have all of everyone that is immediately around you. So you have a good number of troops who can begin getting patients out for you. Captain Bisley, what is your immediate reaction to the doctor actually embracing his rank as major and giving an order?
Gonna listen, because this is like one of those, like, oh shit, this is a real command? Better do it. So I will absolutely turn to my lieutenants and be like, good doctor, follow his order, let's go. And I'm gonna go charging after the doctor.
So the captain goes charging after the doctor. We'll just go around then. Sergeant Griffiths, what do you do?
He will probably head out as well, but he is going to instruct his farriers to double check all the horses and make sure they're secure.
I mean, that might be a very good decision to do. And Lieutenant Valentine, what is your choice here?
I had to clear my throat. I realized that it looked like I was unmuting myself. I was just totally clearing my throat. I'm just looking at my skills here, looking at to see if whether or not strategy or tactics would be better here. So I think it says here I can in combat. We'll see if this counts as a free action. I can forego my agility test to determine my placement initiative order, to test warfare, to grant bonus dice to my allies' agility tests. If I could do that, I would like to give bonuses to my allies in their agility tests by basically kind of coordinating, like making sure people are.
I mean, there isn't really a combat here. There isn't an initiative roll for this, so I'm gonna say it doesn't quite work for this one.
Right.
Good try, though.
Just give it a try.
I mean, it is a good attempt to use your benefits, which are useful.
Mm-hmm. You know, because I feel like, there's some chaos. We have to tamp down the chaos. I am going to, I'm going to follow my orders, right? I'm going to sort of head a tent fire. I'm going to sort of charge forward, but I'm not super smart about lots of things, so that's fine. I'm going to charge forward while trying to figure out like where this fire is, because I don't think I see one, right? Like at this point in time, I don't think it has emerged.
You could roll awareness notice now that the doctor has given you that there is something wrong.
Let me see what I might be able to see. 11?
With the doctor pointing it out, you do see smoke coming from the side of this of the hospital tent.
Okay.
You wouldn't necessarily know. You wouldn't necessarily know of the greater danger of the chemicals.
No, that's a lot.
You just
of
know
stuff.
that there's a fire.
I'm kind of burly. You know, it's one of the things I do. Good farmhand. What I'm going to do is charge towards that area on the outside of the tent, and I'm going to try if I can, be right where the explosion is. I'm going to. I don't know. That's what's happening. I'm going to try to collapse the tent on the fire to sort of put it out. So like when I get to that corner of the tent, my goal is to sort of try to knock out the support post for that.
Oh, when you get there, you see that the smoke is coming underneath the tent, and the tent itself is not on fire.
Yeah, I'm gonna collapse the tent on the, like, if there are flames, we'll just collapse the tent on it, and then it'll put it out. It's like big heavy canvas, and I imagine that will take care of it, and we'll just stomp on it, just like.
Yeah, but it's okay. So you're gonna collapse the entire hospital tent?
Oh, the back end. Like I imagine you've got multiple. What do you call it?
Yeah, but picture like MASH, right?
Mm-hmm.
Picture a MASH hospital tent. The smoke is coming from underneath the side of the tent.
In the back, right? I'm gonna rip up the tent.
The stake, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're gonna do that. You each have one last action before things happen.
I have no idea that things are flammable and explosive. That is not what I know. That is not a thing that I know. I'm just going to the fire.
And, Doctor, you have a troops of men.
So, I feel as though on the way I will probably, because it would kind of behoove them to know, I will probably shout something to the effect of that the chemicals at the back are going off, is what I'm going. Is probably that's going to be a thing.
I don't know. Like, I'm a farm boy.
But I think probably if I see Valentine heading that way, I am probably going to, as part of what I'm doing, going to shout, "Chemicals at the back! They're about to go off!"
I have to stop it. Yeah.
And basically, and again, this is, I'm not sure what the procedure is for this sort of situation, but I know we have to protect as many people as possible. And actually, yeah, smothering the flame might be good. But yeah, he's gonna. I think really the action that's coming is if there's any way we can like bring down a partition or something, anything that might cut off the back from the front, that might help give us a few seconds more to get everybody out. Then I'm probably going to be going, running into the tent and cutting through ropes or whatever it is that I need to do to make that happen.
I mean, you can bring down like the kind of partition between like apparently the scandal alcove and the rest of the the ward.
I'm afraid we shall have to.
Oh, not the scandal alcove.
I know, we're losing the scandal alcove.
I hope we don't. The scandal alcove is important. It's
Only episode 2. We can't lose it.
Right?
I know, it's the most important thing. The most important thing is the scandal alcove.
But yeah, basically, if there's like a partition, or if one of the non-explodey cabinets or something is like right inside, something just basically to create a partition of some kind if one does not exist.
Yep.
Which maybe so like pulling down If we've got like just a cabinet, yeah, like if we have an asbestos curtain, that'd be awesome. But I don't know if we have that. But yeah, no, just like grabbing one of those big medical cabinets that I put other stuff in.
You have lots and lots of wool blankets.
Yeah. So yeah, anything to kind of like toss them up to basically cut off the scandal alcove from the patient section, so we can get the patients out. That's what the doctor is doing.
Okay, Captain, what are you doing?
How many patients are currently in there? Probably.
At this point, maybe 10.
Okay, so I think I've definitely just sort of barked the orders at all of my subordinates to get the patients out, and I'm probably going against my better judgment. I'm going to specifically grab Hadley and just be like, oh my god, it's so gross, oh my god, it's so gross, and just get him out, and just, so we'll all just get everything out. I assume Hadley's like the closest one to the back, so I'm the one I'm going the farthest in, but I'm encouraging everyone to just get everyone out as quickly as possible.
All right.
And my goals, when I pull up, I want to see what is easier to move, the source of the fire or the explosives, because apparently things are going to explode. I imagine there are bottles. I don't know. Either I'm going to throw those things out, or I'm going to try to get the fire out. One of the two. I don't know what is on. I don't know what the fire is. I don't know what the source of it is. But if there's explodey things, I'm going to try to separate those things in one or the other. I will throw things. We'll throw them.
There's a throwing of things. There's a moving of explodey thingies.
Whichever but if it's based on what I see, right? Like if it's like
based on what you see. Yeah. I'll come back to that in a second. Sergeant Griffiths, what are you up to?
He is still looking to make sure that all the horses are secure, and he will also instruct all of the other farriers to make sure that no one is trying to move any horses and lose them in the chaos of everything.
Okay.
Don't let anybody steal the horses in the madness. None of that. No stealing of horses.
Nope.
No. Horse thieves.
I will let... Here's what's going to happen. We will watch the camera as troops are pulling the wounded and the injured out of the front of the tent. The doctor is taking a knife, or maybe a scalpel, maybe a knife, both, to the sides of the partition between, the quote-unquote scandal alcove or his office quarters, to the, from the main section of this hospital tent. Then we have the image of the captain directing traffic and trying to control all of this. The sergeant is, focused on counting horses, making sure that none of those go missing. Lieutenant, you open the back of this flap and you see flames. And you see a locked cabinet, and you see a growing amount of flames approaching said locked cabinet.
I'm going to pull the cabinet out of there, because it'll be faster to get the cabinet out than the flames out. There are a lot of flames, they're coming. Pull the cabinet out. Remove the cabinet from the fire.
So, the camera focuses in on Lieutenant Valentine as the flames begin to rise and the smoke gets blacker and darker, and this cabinet starts to move. And that's where we're going to pick up next week.
Oh.
We okay?
Yes!
Good. One might say we're like explosives in a container, waiting for the flames to go off, and we're gonna have to wait till next week to see if the flames go off.
This is what do they say? What's that phrase? It's like a It's like is it a phrase to say it's an explosive good time? And do people say that? Is that a phrase people say?
Well, it can be.
It certainly kills tonight.
Oh my goodness. Well, that went out with a bang. Ba-da-pow! Yeah.
We shall see. We shall see. But thank you, all my wonderful players, for being here. Thank you, audience and friends, for joining us. We'll have to see what happens next week with the explosions, both flammable and melodramatic, that might happen.
Look, I got promoted from the ranks. People who get promoted from the ranks do that because they kind of do,
Yes,
things.
actually, one of the 3 requirements to be promoted from the ranks: 1, you have to be a sergeant; 2, you have to be able to read and write; and 3, you have to do something of suicidal bravery to be promoted from the ranks into being an officer in the British Army at this time. So we'll see what happens with the suicidal bravery coming next week. Again.
I got 2 bonus dice. It's fine.
Yes, you have 2 bonus dice. It's fine. But we're gonna go. Actually, 3 things. 1, we're gonna let everybody say where they can find you, what you do. I want to share 1 positive thing that you enjoyed. Share love with everybody. And 3, we forgot to share what our teas were for today. So you have to share what your tea was for today, as part of this wonderful party with Anino. And I feel that that's the appropriate place to start today. Hey, Anino.
How's it going? My name's Anino. You can find me on Twitter at Anino Gaming. Next stream will be tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time over on the Other Dog channel for Ghosts of Saltma, a dark matter campaign where we're in the middle of exploring a very scary shipwreck. So that should be a lot of fun. Tonight's tea is a green tea mixed with toasted rice for a very nice earthy and light flavor. And one good thing about tonight, I pretty much liked and expected the direction in which the siblings, the Griffiths siblings, were going to go. It was delightfully even more antagonistic than I thought it would be, thanks to Trooper.
Only the love. Only the love.
Yeah, no, there's no love there. This is going to end in poorly and with a lot of scandal, probably. Which is
for you too. Like this mutually assured destruction. We don't like. Don't you care about your reputation? Oh wait, look at what you do for a living. You don't.
Oh. So yeah, there we go.
Yes, the mutually assured destruction. And I think we're gonna go above Anino on the overlay. Hey, Alyssa.
Yep. This is the only place I am. You can find me at Xander Slamilton on Twitter, or if you're interested in the art that I've started doing because of Inktober, at Xander in the Wild on Instagram. It's mostly just really silly Inktober things, or occasionally pictures of my cats. But I am here. Tonight's tea was the last of a gifted English breakfast that someone had gotten me. It was pretty good. It came in a cute little Alice in Wonderland tin that was like a hand-painted portrait on this tin. It was really nice. And I think while I agree that the Griffith siblings were to die for, I think just for a very small thing, I think it was Sergeant Griffith's foresight to have somebody check on the horses before shit went crazy. That was extremely clever.
Yeah.
Because I definitely think the rest of us would not have thought of that.
It's not our job. It's his job. Smart guy.
It's perfect. It's on character. It's on brand. It's well done.
All of the well done, all of the fabulousness, and I think we're gonna go cross on the bottom and go to the good doctor. Hello, Jim. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you again for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I would like to raise a glass to the Scandal Elko for very bravely throwing itself in the way of the danger. And we hardly knew ye. So I'm Jim. I am Other Doc on both Twitch and Twitter, where you can find me doing stuff. And right now over on my channel on Sunday night, so tomorrow night we have Dark Matter aforementioned, and on Thursday night, hopefully, we're having we're coming up on the conclusion probably of our short campaign of Witch Hunt, run by Taylor, who wrote the system that we're using, and so that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll be doing various other things soon, hopefully. And tonight's tea was also English breakfast. It was Twining's English breakfast, and it is a delight. It is. I recently remembered that I like tea, and so I'm rediscovering how to do it, and it was a good thing, man. Tonight was awesome. I loved the NPCs coming in, basically the players playing NPCs. I think just to pick out a moment that it just sort of turned for me into delight was just the first time when Trooper just threw on the shawl. And,
right over there, it's ready. It's ready. Any moment.
That was glorious, and just seeing all that leading to a trend of the NPCs. Dragging the PCs that player was associated with. That was just wonderful. And I cannot wait to get back to this next week. This is awesome.
Oh, is it Friday yet?
I know, right?
No, it's not Friday. It's Saturday.
When is Saturday?
That makes sense. That's why. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Friday.
That makes sense.
Friday is other things.
No,
but
Time is squishy.
Yeah, but that means that we need to transition to the wonderful Trooper who instigated the players playing NPCs dragging their main character.
It only makes sense. It only makes sense. Do you mind if I do something? It's important. Hey, Anino.
Yeah.
I have to tell you something.
What is it?
Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Happy birthday to you. All right. Happy birthday, dear Anino. Don't go changing. I mean that. You're beautiful. All right. Happy birthday to you and many more.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna clip that later.
I think that rates on happy birthday songs. I think that rates as a number that's above share, but definitely below. I'm sorry, you're below Marilyn.
No, that's fair, but I want to know how many Vegases do I rate? Out of like 1 to 5 Vegases for that happy birthday song, how many Vegases?
I would say that's a 3 Vegas.
Okay.
There, you were too sober for a true 5 Vegas.
That's fair. I got to work on that. Happy birthday. My tea was Bengal Spice, a little bit expired, but it still worked. Celestial Seasonings, because I drank my herbal teas, and it's got a bit of a cinnamon to it, which is nice. I'm Trooper SJP. You can find me at Trooper SJP on my channel. My RPGs on my channel are Fridays at 7 p.m. I do City of Light and Shadow, a French resistance campaign, and my players are in trouble. It's cool. Don't worry about it. It's fine. And I don't think it's as much trouble as we are in right now, so it's all right. And then 1 o'clock on Fridays over at Laugh Love Lindy's, I'm in a Cypher System game called Aether's Walkway. And then on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. over at Laugh Love Lindy's, I am almost back in a Witcher campaign. I'm currently stoned, and by that I mean I'm in a stone, locked in a stone. But I suspect I will be maybe rescued or everyone will die. It's one of the two. So I think I'll be back pretty soon. And my moment, here's my moment. First off, I'm going to stab anyone who hurts my captain. That's it. That's it. It's just all the stabbing. Well, really more like punching, because Valentine punches people rather than stabs them. But when my captain like got to meet his lovely wife, and was like wanting to be like, just like, how are you, like, well, it's not, how was your day? Like, I was just like, Captain, my captain, I want to give you the biggest hug. I just like, oh, so I just want to give like the captain some love, because clearly some people are not giving my captain love, and I will not have it. That's it. I just want to give all my love to my captain right now.
It's definitely appreciated.
Well, it's definitely an appreciation for someone, but thank you, Trooper. We do appreciate that. And off of that, hey y'all, you know me. I'm at Dirgeon on Twitter, Proxygorthesmia4. You see me around here on Twitch. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the fun things we get to do. This is a wonderful fun thing that we will continue next Saturday at 8 p.m. We will see what happens with the hopeful, you know, where there's smoke, there's a fire, in so many senses of that term. But you can find me next over on Wednesday, as we have the season 2 finale of Witcher Family of Wraiths, where, yes, Trooper, Ainfra's getting your ass out of the frickin' rock, and no one is dying. As Ainfra proved last week, no one's allowed to die.
Oh, could I also give props to Prax's evil GM face? Because that evil GM face showed up a couple of times, and I'm like, that's the best. That's the best.
Yeah. It will be back. From experience, it will be back.
Yeah.
There will be consequences, and it will be back with consequences for her making that face.
I don't know. I think I have all the fun with this. But yes, so there will be props for that. Thank you, I appreciate. But yes, we will rescue, we will deal with, as was stated last week, the Bone Zone and every definition of that term on Family of Wraiths.
Yep.
You go watch the VOD if you haven't. That will kind of give a lot of explanation for that. And then Thursday for the season finale over on Wandering DM of Dragon Age: The Search for Anders. And Friday with Anino for some Cyberpunk Red, and hashtag, by the way, totally not sponsored, but I'm going to shill for them because I think they're great peoples and I really respect them a lot. There was an announcement yesterday on the R. Telsorian website about, you know, certain dates for a certain book that's...
What?
They released numbers. I can now officially say that it's 450 pages plus of core rulebook for Cyberpunk Red is coming soon. But yes, it is a lot of fun. And then we'll back here next Saturday for more fun, more shenanigans, and more consequences.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So torturously good.
And of course, I would also like to say that the Willoughby counter is in full effect.
It wasn't my fault. It's just that his name came up, and then I was mad.
Yep.
That's just... I didn't think you'd catch all of them, but you did. It's terrible.
Why else would I have the counter? But I will see you all next week. Have yourselves a wonderful time. And don't forget, we'll be here. Bye.